Hello! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. It's me again here, welcoming you back to another episode of Amazing Worlds indeed. Don't know if I still wanna call the channel that. Horses Amazing Worlds. Anyway, here to discuss the Chronicles of Conan by American author Robert E. Howard, which I read in my Kindle because I found a fantastic deal where I got the whole 17 short stories for 99 cents, 99 cents of a euro, whatever it was. And I picked it up on the recommendation of David Wiley. So check his channel out. He's a big fan of the Conan series. So I was curious, picked it up, read it. 17 short stories, which I read sort of in between bigger books. So very nice sort of palate cleanser. The last story is a little bit longer. It's a novella, 250 pages. Originally written between 1932 and 1936, published in the Amazing and the Wonderful Weird Tales magazine. Robert E. Howard was part of the H.P. Lovecraft circle of correspondence, and you can kind of sometimes see the influence of that sort of Lovecraftian Cthulhian horror seep moderately, hints of brushstrokes into the Conan stories, particularly Temple of the Elephant and the Phoenix on the Sword, where the big monster at the end sort of melts away in this sort of volumeless, massless blur, very much like Lovecraftian horror creature. Now, Robert E. Howard, ever so slightly a tragic figure, died young, couldn't get over the death of his mother. There's a movie about him with Vincent D'Onofrio on the main character as Robert E. Howard, and a very young Renée Zellweger acting as the love interest. The movie was in 1996, and I'll put the picture there because I can remember the title now. But anyway, what are the Chronicles of Conan like? Well, very much. I don't know, maybe the origins, maybe not. Sword and sorcery. So very short stories where our hero just goes on different adventures. They were in the collection that I had, but I suspect also the way they were written without respecting any kind of internal chronology. So I think by story number 4, Conan is already the king of Aquilonia, and then in the next one, he's just a poor thief trying to steal a jewel, and in the next one, he is a pirate, and then in the last novella, he's trying to claim back the throne of Aquilonia. So a lot of different stuff going on there. The character isn't quite so much like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from way back when. So Conan is obviously this hyper macho, super muscular barbarian, although he's described as having dark hair and blue eyes, so a bit of a weird mix. But he's got brains about him, so sometimes he's a thief, sometimes he's just a warrior, but he's got enough wisdom to be a beloved king. So slightly more complex character than the one portrayed in the movie. But don't let me mislead you. These short stories are very much action-driven, plot-driven, with very, very little character growth. Conan is the same character throughout the whole 900 pages of the whole Chronicles of Conan, whether he's a thief, a pirate, or a king. All the women fall at his rude, manly charms, and he calls them wenches, and they are happy to go along. Eventually, all of them fall at his feet. So if you are sort of bothered, or if you are offended by that sort of portrayal of women and the sort of treatment of women, well, you got that there because it was written in 1932. So, attitudes have changed. You need to contextualize. All in all, are you going to be wowed? Possibly not, but I'll say they are entertaining. I couldn't really fault them. There is nothing wrong with the stories. They just almost like set action pieces. There is no those ex machina moments. There is no saving yourself at the last minute because of plot conveniences. I mean, Conan is going to save the day in the end, and he's going to survive, and the plot armor is strong here. But it all makes sense within the internal consistency and the world in which the stories are set. At times, you can feel a little bit lost in the world because there's all these references to different nations and different kingdoms and different sort of cultures, which are not that very well fleshed out because of sort of the nature of the constraints of a 40-page story. I got the feel reading them that it was in this kind of pre-medieval sort of halfway between like an Iron Age and medieval times, maybe. There's a little bit of fantasy creatures. There is a little bit of magic, but it's not too strong. Actually, the fantasy elements are not as prominent as you would have thought or got a sense for if you're not very familiar with the genre and all you hear is sword and sorcery, right? It's actually a lot more sword than sorcery. I think that's a fair assessment. It is also interesting that at times it is sort of hinted at that this world in which the action takes place sort of predates modern Earth. So it's sort of like a slightly, if I remember correctly, sort of post-fall of Atlantis type thing. And so on. So that was kind of interesting. And at the end of the collection, there is this essay where Robert T. Howard sort of expands a little bit on the Hyborian age, which is sort of the age where all this action takes place. So there's a little bit of sort of off-page world building, so to speak. So, all in all, it's entertaining. The stories were entertaining. The good thing is that they are short. If you really like them, obviously, you can read them back to back. But I found them really nice. So I think it took me sort of pretty much the whole of 2022 to read them. I think I found the offer, bought it sort of early on in the year, and they're sort of in between books. And it was nice, you knew that within half an hour, 40 minutes, you could read one story, sort of put it down, clear your mind from whatever book I was reading, and then start the next one. But anyway, this is all I've got for today. As usual, thank you ever so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, let me know your thoughts. Check out David's channel because he does put a lot of stuff out there, and he's not so fantasy heavy. He seems to have a much broader palette than I do, so maybe there's something in there for you. Anyway, take loads and lots of care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.